Nobody's watching.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yes, enough silliness. Welcome one and all. Well, welcome both of you that are watching. We have 2 viewers, 2 Private Ryan. Probably because we're late and they didn't know if we're coming or not.
Mm-hmm.
But we're here. Why aren't you here? You should have been here waiting for us. But they weren't, were they?
No.
No. Rude. Now there's only one. It's going to be a short Q&A session, isn't it? All right. Tell us what you've been doing this week.
Me?
Mm.
Oh,
Yes, you.
all farm work, I guess.
Good.
Putting hay bales on the truck, moving them.
Wasn't that exciting?
Yeah, I
It's the
guess.
most fun you could have with your clothes on. Moving hay bales around. Yep, and we also did some firewood cutting and collection, didn't we?
Yeah,
Mm.
firewood too.
And then one of us walked into a low-hanging branch of a tree.
Oh,
See?
yeah.
Bled like a stuck pig. Incredible. Anyway, who's in the house? Joff's in the house. Lieutenant General Mark Linford of the Meat Militia is in the house. Shahya's here. Yoko Tubin. Question for you. You can do that. Magic.
Private Ryan, by any chance, are you able to bench press 410 pounds? No.
No. Well, you can't possibly know anything then. This is
Yeah.
the acid test of knowledge. Is whether you can bench press a lot.
No.
For some reason, inexplicably though, today Private Ryan is Field Marshal Private Ryan. Yes, so. See? Field Marshal Private Ryan. Field Marshal Dr. Private Ryan. Thanks, Juliet, for the super chat action. We love some super chat action. It's all good. No question. Okay. Couldn't you make one up? There you go. Thoughts on NAC. What are your thoughts on NAC?
I don't know what it is.
Nicotinamide. It's one of those supplements that's designed to boost your redox potential.
NAD plus
That's one.
derivative.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan's here. Good to see you, Jonathan. Good. Excellent. Is New Zealand just better? Yes, I think so.
Better
Than what, though? Better than what?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Was he asking me better than Australia?
I suppose he was, but you better answer it then.
I guess better or worse depends.
Fair enough.
Depends what you prefer.
Mm.
Do you think aluminium is toxic to humans?
Yes, absolutely. In enough dosage of it, which isn't very much, by the way. But yeah, aluminium has been implicated, at least, in Alzheimer's disease.
Okay.
Yeah. What happened to my dome? Yes, that was the thing. I walked into a down-hanging knot on a horizontal branch, a low branch on a tree. Didn't see it. And like the flesh on my scalp was just rolled back like cheese grater. And there was blood everywhere. And nobody cared. They were like, oh.
Yeah. Who is this young gentleman?
This is Private Field Marshal Dr. Ryan of the Meat Militia. He's been with us for, how many weeks have you been here now? 4 weeks or so. Seems like longer.
5 maybe.
Seems like longer. When are you leaving?
On the 18th.
Tuesday. That'll be sad for everybody. Well, we might miss your sister, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not too bad either, I suppose. If you can hear the dog complaining in the background, it's because she's been put in the bedroom until Mummy gets back from across the road. Just ignore her.
I've heard from carnivore influencers
Yep.
about competition between glucose and ascorbic acid,
Yes.
but only one pertaining to GLUT4.
Yes.
Why is SVCT never mentioned? Wouldn't this mean there would be no competition?
Yeah, it's an interesting point that it's never mentioned. And you're quite right that it should be mentioned. And it does alleviate some of this issue, but not all of it. So there is still some competition because GLUT4 is the preferred and primary route into cells of vitamin C. And SVCT is very much a secondary means, and it's expressed at a much lower level. So, good point. The reason why it doesn't work is what I've just said. Hope that helps. There you go. In acetylcysteine.
It works well.
yeah.
NAD plus niacinamide and adenoside.
Yeah.
NAC.
NAD.
Yeah, NAD.
Yeah.
I've been using that for about 3 months on and off. You'll get more out of glutathione in terms of rounded benefits.
Rounded benefits. Does that mean you have a bubble butt now? Or large breasts?
Does he take it subcutaneously?
I don't know, Jonathan. What do? Do you take it subcutaneously or some other method?
Yeah.
Orally, perhaps? Nothing wrong with a bit of oral, is there, Private Ryan?
How's the farm work going, and what's the best part you enjoy doing on the farm?
Go.
Ooh, I guess wood chopping's pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just farm work, so.
Yeah, it's just good old farm work. There's nothing too exciting about it. But yep, farm. I think the wood cutting was quite good. You also enjoyed using the whipper snipper quite a bit, didn't you?
Yeah.
The whipper snipper with a metal blade on it. And it was like fucking everything in your path was just mowed to the ground, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Out of the way. And stuff. That was good.
Okay. Opinion on nicotine pouches.
Well, nicotine does have its indications, does have its uses, can be handy. Absolutely. This idea that nicotine is universally a bad thing is false. Obviously, the mode by which you get it into your body is important because you don't want to be smoking tobacco to get nicotine because tobacco smoke is definitely a problem. If you get it in using pouches, and it's of benefit, and probably in terms of stuff like vasodilation and all of that, all good, I think. Mm-hmm.
I have over the years seen carnivores say their T3 is lower than on a standard American diet. Can this be a thing of bone density? Is low T3 sparring bone density since high T3 erodes the same?
Who knows, Fluffy Rainbows? Jag vet inte on that. That's a fair hypothesis. It's worth considering. What I do say to people all the time that come to me with low this, low that, high this, high the other thing, whatever on a lab result, is I always go, well, how do you feel? What are your signs and symptoms of disease, if any? Oh, none? Then there's no problem, I think.
Do you think the egg shortage is BS, or are we not allowed to talk about that on YouTube?
There is a manufactured egg shortage in various parts of the world, Juliet, I think. Yes, because they killed a bunch of chickens because of chicken flu or something, I think. Whatever. Yes, it's bullshit. I mean, the shortage of eggs isn't bullshit. There is a shortage of eggs, but the reason for it is bullshit. Yeah.
I asked if ascorbic acid or DHAA was the real vitamin C because DHAA is found in small, adequate amounts in meat, and ascorbic acid can form into oxalates, apparently. Might be useful for some.
By definition, ascorbic acid is vitamin C. Other forms are other forms of vitamin C. Do I think that there's a benefit of one form over the other? No. Do I think that people should take in a bunch of vitamin C? No. Other than what you get with your food meaning meat. I don't think it's an issue. Whippity snipper. Whippity snipper. Whippity whip whip snip. There you go. IM. Jonathan was taking his NAD IM.
Jonathan.
Here we go.
I've used it. I wouldn't use it sub-Q, although I did have an IV push myself
Right.
due to some kind of reaction. It's easier to inject quickly, so IM provides a buffer before it hits the system too quick.
Got it. Yeah, okay. That sounds perfectly sensible if you're going to be doing that. Josephine misses fixing fences. Well, come here.
I miss fixing fences.
We have plenty of fences that need fixing. Man, this is a 40-plus acre property, and the fencing on it is Mickey Mouse as fuck. Most of it's old and rotten. Most of the corners don't even have stays on them. You can't tension the fence up therefore without just basically pulling the posts over or breaking them off at ground level. Sometimes it's 3 wire, sometimes it's 5 wire, sometimes it's 7 wire. It's loose as a goose. Come here. If you want to do fencing, you're welcome. Yes. Thank you for the super chat action there, Jonathan. Appreciate it. $2 squid pounds.
Thank you.
Yes.
Would milk with high fat content and lower lactose, such as buffalo milk, be preferable than other milk?
Depends what you're looking for. And maybe you react to cow's milk where you don't react to buffalo. Don't know. I find that I react to cow's milk, at least pasteurized cow's milk, but I don't react to goat's milk. So that's the reason I might do that if I was going to do milk, which I do in my standard Meat Militia standard coffee cup.
I think what he means is he assumes you react the same, but it's just the fat and
Right. Okay.
content.
So is the question, is more fat better and less sugar better? Well, probably. Yeah. Yep. Fair call. Thank you, Private Ryan. Private Field Marshal Dr. Ryan. Professor.
Yeah. Okay.
Why not?
Is goat and sheep cheese much better than cow cheese regarding amino acid profiles and general digestibility?
Don't think so. There are differences, yes, but I don't think that they're meaningful for the most part, for most people under most circumstances. All comments, of course, are aimed at the middle of the bell-shaped curve. Yes.
Do you think organs and raw blood is getting overhyped in the raw meat carnivore sphere?
Yes, I do. It's fine if you want to, but there's no need, requirement. You're not only a real carnivore if you do that sort of thing, and not a real carnivore if you don't. That's rubbish. And if you eat cooked meat, you're a fucking slave. You're nothing to do with carnivore. Salt is rock. Earth is flat. Stare directly at the sun.
Cheers, Bart, for the entertainment and best info on the interwebs.
You're welcome.
Jumped back on carnivore 2 weeks ago, installed an earth steak yesterday, running to a wrist strap. Can tell ya me, I'm not woo.
Yes, you're not woo-woo. Good.
Oh.
Right, well, welcome back to the club.
Wait, what? Can you tell me I'm not woo?
Oh, can I tell you you're not woo-woo? Yes, I can tell you you're not woo-woo. No, the earthing thing is a good thing. It absolutely is what it says it is. It's great to do. Only steak in that context is spelt differently.
Yeah.
That's like a steak you'd eat. But that's fine when I had to learn spelling. Yes, it's not woo-woo. Grounding is definitely not. I thought it was. When somebody first said to me, you know, you should ground yourself, I was like, for goodness sake, I'm a scientist. And the person that suggested it to me said, well, if you're a scientist, you'll check out whether there's any science behind this or not, then won't you? which was very clever on their part because I was just going off an opinion at that time. So I had to go, oh, yeah, fair enough. I'll have to go and actually find out. And I did go and find out. There is science behind it. So there you go. I was wrong. Well, I thought I was wrong, but I was mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How fresh do you have your goat milk? Do you like it a bit sauced?
Oh, soured. I think that's just a bit soured.
Soured.
So sauced. Everything else gets sauced, doesn't it? With non-sugar containing steak sauce.
Yeah.
Fresh goat's milk. Yeah, love it. Fresh is fresh. Generally what happens is it gets milked in the morning at about 8 o'clock and it goes in the freezer for about half an hour, which just puts a chill on the milk and that somehow gets rid of the goaty flavour. And then anytime after that, over the next day or two, it gets consumed in various forms. In terms of the souring, we actually have kefir that we make. Well, I don't make it. Pim makes kefir. And I go, thanks for making kefir, Pim. Num, num, num.
Mm-hmm.
And usually we put in some cereal collagen as well. Just cause. Cha-ching! Sponsors product. What's next?
Why do you think that GMO is generally considered bad or that it should be avoided?
I think there are a lot of people that go on the evolutionary principle, go on the natural principle and go anything man-made, manufactured, processed, made in a factory or in a laboratory in the case of GMO is bad universally, absolutely and without question. I believe that to be a theological standpoint more than based on any kind of logic, because case by case, some genetically modified organisms, some of them are good and useful, and others could be disastrous potentially. The other thing to keep in mind, of course, is that nature is the birthplace of humanity. We are part of nature. We are animals. We're just intelligent animals that live our lives differently to what other animals do, including we do crazy stuff like science and genetically modifying organisms. So that's natural because that's evolved as part of nature. In the same way as us flying in aeroplanes and burning gasoline in cars is natural, because human beings are ostensibly a bunch of genes that tell us to be who we are, and those genes are delivered to us by positive and negative selection pressures, part of nature. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, or don't, because smoking is bad. Okay? Isn't it, Dr. Private Field Marshal Ryan?
Yeah.
Yes. What's next?
Have you ever come across CRPS, frickin' acronyms?
Mm-hmm.
Complex Regional Pain Syndrome.
Thank you.
It's a disorder affecting the limbs of the body, effectively causing suicidal level pain to your body parts. CNTD.
Continued. That means he's continuing down here. There are no experts.
There are no experts out there I can access which can advise me best. It's a 23.6 out of 100,000 people diagnosis.
Right. I'm assuming that's a diagnosis you've got, Jonathan, for yourself. From what you're saying, I don't know, but that's what I'm going to assume. In which case, you and I should definitely have a chat behind the scenes. Book it in. You have my link. Ostensibly, what I will tell you is the best approach is 5 health hacks. That would be where I would be attacking it from. That would be my toolkit on that one. And depending on what else is going on, there might be 1 or 2 additional things added to the 5, but probably just the 5. But yes, I have heard of that, and yes, I know what it is. It's one of those pretty difficult ones, though. It's an intractable thing because it's a differential diagnosis, meaning they eliminate anything else it could possibly be, and when they're left with nothing else, they go, oh, well, it's that then. Almost like they say, oh, it's idiopathic. Okay, good. Sorry to hear about that, Jonathan, by the way. It's not the same, but it's not dissimilar to fibromyalgia as well, and I've had that. And I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, if I've even got any enemies. I haven't got any enemies, have I? Private Dr. Field Marshal Ryan?
Well, you had an interview with one couple months ago.
Enemy?
Yeah.
All right.
Enemy.
Yes. But I was put in my place soundly and firmly by him, of course, wasn't I? Because he can bench press more than me.
Yeah. That's what is important.
He's not actually my enemy. I mean, he's not important enough in my life to be classed as an enemy. He's just an idiot on the interwebs with no qualifications, no actual knowledge or experience of any kind. And he's a bit tubby. I just thought I'd add that because it annoys him when I call him tubby. I actually don't even judge. I don't care if he is tubby, but he does. And he is. Tubby as fuck. Right, what's next?
Does glucose from gluconeogenesis cause glycation?
Well, it can. Yeah. But it's not likely because for the most part, gluconeogenesis is demand driven. It only becomes supply driven if, for example, you take in a massive whack of protein that you don't need or something like that. That's the usual course of events, in which case you're not going to make more than you need so that there's too much floating around to cause glycation damage. Pretty much. Salt is rock. Yes, salt is rock. Grizzly Warrior. Oh, you got one there. Okay, cool.
Grizzly.
This is one there that didn't have a Q. Don't forget to put a Q in front of your questions, team. That way, His Majesty Lord Edward Yellow, King of the Bears, is easier. You smell. Maybe he needs a wash. Makes it easier for him to find the questions if you put a Q and then suffers it with a question mark. Good. Anyway.
Do you need electrolyte supplements on the carnivore diet? I also take 1 tablespoon of sea salt in a glass of water with 3 drops of iodine daily.
Need is too strong. You do need to have a balance of electrolytes. Your body systems do work to attain and maintain that situation. It's part of the homeostatic mechanism, absolutely. If you are excreting more electrolyte than you're taking in, there will be an issue at some point. If you are not excreting enough and you're intaking more than you're excreting, that will cause a problem too. So it's case by case as to who needs electrolyte supplementation. In general, a carnivore that's been carnivore for any period of time, they tend to fall into 2 categories. Those who go, I don't salt anything, I don't add any salt, I take no salt. Not meaning they take no salt, meaning they take 0 amount of salt. Because no salt is a brand of salt, a potassium salt. So I don't mean that. I mean no salt as in not taking in any salt. I hope that's clear. And then the other group of people are ones that just salt everything to taste. I do that. I always salt my food. I don't take an electrolyte supplement per se, though, pretty much. I've got one in the house that I can take if I get very dehydrated out in the sun, supervising the privates Ryan and their privates, trimming my privates, or whatever. What are we going to do when the private Ryans aren't here and we don't have private Ryans? We'll have other staff, I suppose. If you want to be here for a period of weeks to do good old farm labour and stuff and have accommodation and food and if you're over 25, a vehicle that you can go places in, that's fucked. We kind of had a vehicle that these guys could have used when they came over here to do stuff, but it failed its warrant of fitness the week they were coming, so we couldn't let them use it. Yeah. I'd ask for my money back if I was you.
GMO is mostly bad due to corporations controlling their intellectual properties and thus controlling the food supply.
Sure, that's not a good thing. You're right. Absolutely.
And then there's GMOs that don't allow replanting.
Yes. Good morning, Claire. Good to see you. Is it cold? No, I just overslept. That's why we were late coming online. Private Ryan was ready. I think you got up 2 minutes before 10 again, though, didn't you?
5 minutes actually.
Was it 5?
Yeah.
My bad. Yeah. And then I wasn't ready because I was still in bed. So I just thought, oh, let's put on the house coat.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's very fetching, isn't it?
So would primal be a better substitute for the word natural? Or these ratwards? Rawtards. And for us as well? Primal, of course, not inherently meaning better.
It could be if that term hadn't kind of already been appropriated by a bunch of people pushing a bunch of ideas. It's a funny thing that we humans seem to feel the need to categorize ourselves and label ourselves into different sects. Sect, not sex. You've got sex on your brain, Private Ryan. Sect, with a T-S. Do we need a label? Or are we just humans living our best lives? I don't know.
I have a feud with a guy at work.
Yep.
He constantly annoys me and harasses me. It bothers me and keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
Any tips Bart to dealing with such thing? Any experiences like this?
Well, you need to go to your manager and make them aware of the situation if you're unhappy with the way you're being treated at work by a coworker. And then it's up to them to make the steps to remedy that situation. Depending on the size of company that you're working for, whatever else, there may well be HR involved. And they'll be interviewing everybody and, the whole thing can get messy. But they do have to do something if you make them aware of a problem. It's not okay to be harassed in the workplace, including here in Pimbatia Farms, is it? But you like a bit of harassment, don't you?
I don't really mind it.
He likes it. He's just not admitting it for the camera.
Oh,
Yeah,
I was
loves
reading the questions.
Yeah. Typical. Sounds just like Pim. I don't know what you were saying. I was reading ahead. Just agree with me. Say I love it. Go
I
on.
love it.
There you go.
Do you also salt your water sometimes?
No.
I find that I can no longer drink standard mineral water.
Yeah.
I find that I need to put salt in there to make it taste right. Otherwise, it tastes nasty.
Okay, well, that's your body telling you what it needs. So I'd go with it. And assuming that your kidneys are functioning normally and you're not chronically hyperinsulinemic, then that won't be a problem. Because if there's any excess that you take in, you'll weird out. Tyler, thank you for the 5 Pacific pesos, New Zealand dollars. That'll keep the lights on for as many minutes. Now, we appreciate it. We appreciate all the donations that come through to us here in Pimbatia. It keeps the lights on. It keeps the privates Ryan in food. And it keeps their privates privated while they're here. Good. Appreciate it. What's the question?
Is there a link between statins and Alzheimer's? Can going carnivore reduce artery wall buildup, plaque, etc.? If so, what is the mechanism?
Goodness gracious, that's 2 questions. Remember to send Tyler the bill for 2 questions instead of for 1. Okay, is there a link between statins and Alzheimer's? Yes, absolutely. Alzheimer's is expressed by a progressive loss of myelination in the nervous system. Myelin is made from Schwann cells, which are rich in, guess what? Cholesterol. And if you artificially lower the amount of cholesterol available to make Schwann cells, that can exacerbate that problem. Can going carnivore reduce artery wall buildup of plaque, etc.? Yes, absolutely, because it's a species-appropriate, species-specific diet, which, if you changed nothing else, would probably have at least some impact in terms of being anti-inflammatory and the appropriate diet for a human, thus allowing you to heal more better and quickly and stuff. But there are 5 health hacks that you should follow in terms of your inflammatory overburden. And there's a video on my channel that tells you all about the 5. The first one is carnivore diet. There are 4 more for you to find out about by watching that video. It's called 5 health hacks you need to know. I'm done. Sort of.
Do you think priming on meat for a couple of weeks is perfectly safe, or are there potential problems?
Well, look, if there are any potential issues, Claire, it is that you may gain some fat during the priming period. It's very much individual. Some people gain fat, some people stay the same, and some people lose fat, despite what priming is, which is actually stuffing in vast quantities of food for 2 weeks, like 3 times the usual intakes. I did it myself. I primed for 2 weeks at the beginning of January, I think it was 2022, and I lost 15 pounds, I think it was. Was it 15 kilos? I can't remember which it was. Most of it was water, and there was a small amount that came off in fat as well, according to the bioelectric impedance scale that I was using. So, meh, but whatever. At the end of the day, I weighed less by either 15 pounds or kilos, I can't remember which, at the end of 2 weeks of so-called 6,000 or so-called calories per day. And it was safe and effective. Effective and safe in my case. Good. I love the Desert Storm outfit, by the way, today. Private Field Marshal Dr. Ryan, Professor. It's good. That's a good colour scheme. I have, I think, 5 or 6 different colour schemes available for the battle dress uniform of the Meat Militia. Come and stay with us, and you can wear one as well. And you could be Private Field Marshal, whatever your name is.
Some of them more camouflage than others.
Yes, there's a bright orange one that's not very camouflagey.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bright yellow one, which is the one that I normally wear, which is not very camouflagey. There's a blue one. There's a grey one. There's the green and brown one, the standard sort of army fatigues colour. And there's the Desert Storm one here. This is actually genuine UK Army surplus, by the way, this particular one. So, there you go.
Really?
Yeah. It's also not your size, is it?
No.
It's not really my size either, but that was part of the joke. All right.
Why is salt usually associated with high blood pressure?
Right.
How do you think this is common misconception came to be?
Right. I'll tell you why it is. Because when you have a lot of salt in your blood, that oncotically and osmotically attracts more water from the interstitial and extra circulatory fluids and draws them all in like a magnet, thus increasing the volume of the fluid in your central blood pool, and that raises your blood pressure. Normally, what is expected to happen is if you've got more sodium in your blood than it needs, it gets filtered out by your kidneys and you urinate it out. Unless you are chronically hyperinsulinemic, meaning too much insulin in your blood. And that usually happens if you eat carbohydrates in any significant amount. When you have a lot of insulin, your kidneys are not able to excrete sodium anymore. So you retain it. And that's what causes the so-called idiopathic hypertension that millions of people suffer. And drugs to lower the blood pressure is not the answer. The answer is stop eating carbohydrates, you dumb individuals.
And I think Australia recently removed the upper limit for sodium consumption.
Yep. Good. But at the same time, they didn't say, and stop eating carbs, though, did they?
No.
No. QQQ, that's 3 questions.
Okay.
Send a bill for 3 questions to Mike, would you? Good.
Speaking of demand-driven gluconeogenesis,
Yep.
why is my body demanding massive amounts of glucose 2 years into 97% PBBE? CGM still taking slow-acting insulin if I don't mind. My glucose ramps up to 300 plus.
Okay. So, Mike, are you type 2 diabetic that also takes insulin, or are you a type 1 diabetic? That would be interesting to know. Your homeostatic mechanism would tend to have your fasting blood glucose drifting up slightly over time. That's normal. But when you say you have a 300 plus glucose, after what? What did you eat that caused that? That would all be interesting information. So let us know, Mike, what the situation is there, and we'll try and come up with something more sensible.
Okay. Thoughts on pursuing the legal profession with New Zealand and Australia?
It's a fine job if that's the sort of thing you want to do. I think you can make some money being in the legal game if money is of interest to you. I couldn't think of anything I personally would want to do less than being a lawyer. But, you do you.
Did this already come up? Or
Yeah,
question
yeah,
is
yeah. We did have that one already.
okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for the super chat.
Indeed. Thank you very much for the super chat. Did we deal with Niall's super chat down there? Right, there we are.
Hello, Professor.
Hello.
I request that you analyze Brian Johnson's
Yep.
experiment diet.
Yep.
I find his modals to be contraindicated.
Yep.
Also, is this young man with you, Professor Junior? Wishing you well from Florida.
Good. Thank you. Right. So let's deal with that in order. Brian Johnson's an idiot. Brian Johnson is a very, very wealthy individual with too much money. So he's not an idiot because you can't get that wealthy being an absolute idiot. However, in respect to human physiological science, longevity and all of that, he has no idea what he's doing at all. He's just playing n equals 1 with himself. He's playing with himself, basically. And what he's doing is stupid, largely. And what he's doing will not extend his lifespan, not by 1 minute, I would suggest. However, he's having fun. He'll play for hours, so we'll just leave him to it. This young man is not affiliated to myself genetically, no. This young man is a visitor to Pimbatia, although he's now a citizen of Pimbatia, having been here to do woofing a bit. And for those that don't know what woofing is, it stands for Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms. And it's, well, you can come and stay with us. We'll put you up, we'll feed you, you do some stuff around the farm to help out. And you stay for as long as you want to, / as long as we want you to. And then it's finished and you go away again. That's what we're telling them. We're telling them they're leaving. But really not. This is the Hotel California. You can check out anytime you like. And you're all singing it in your heads right now, aren't you? And going into the guitar solo in your heads. I know you are. And if you're not, we can't be friends. Right, what's next?
Can you make up a scenario where it would be necessary for someone to consume carbohydrates, fruits, etc.?
No, because there isn't one.
Okay.
All things being equal, the average person on the average day, someone who is a type 1 diabetic who is taking the wrong advice from the wrong people and is thus injecting insulin on a schedule may well need some carbohydrate to counterbalance that insulin that they've injected that they probably shouldn't have. But that's not really an excuse. That's just dealing with bad advice, following even worse advice. Yeah. Urine therapy is well established. No, it isn't.
But would eating your own poo have beneficial effects?
No. Your body excreted it for a reason. The same with your urine. Actually, urine therapy. No, urine therapy are 2 words that you shouldn't put together. Ridiculous.
What is urine therapy?
Drinking your own piss. There's nothing therapeutic about drinking your body excretions. Or anybody else's, by the way. But if you want to eat shit or drink piss, you go ahead. You do you. We won't judge. We'll probably point and laugh, but we won't judge.
What's your opinion on what causes ALS in a person that does not take poisonous medications?
There are many things that can trigger such a thing. Autoimmunity would be one of them. That's probably the most likely. Some random trigger. It's a terrible disease. It's a dreadful thing, but, the actual cause, if we knew that, we'd probably be able to sort it out, wouldn't we?
No.
Of course, the medical profession, the allopathic medical profession anyway, has no interest in sorting out anybody's disease process and stopping it. Their only interest is in symptom management for profit. It's not a healthcare industry, it's a sick care industry. Oh, that's terrible. You have this disease, type 2 diabetes. Do you know that's chronic and progressive and you can't get rid of it? They'll tell you. Absolute bullshit. But they'll tell you that you've got type 2 diabetes for life and now you're beholden to this misinformation that we're going to give you for profit for the rest of your life, which will be a lot shorter because if you follow that advice, the rest of your life won't be as long. It's criminal, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm glad you agreed with me because disagreeing with me is hate speech.
What percentage of cardiac plaques are composed of cholesterol?
Usually less than 0.1% of the volume of a lesion is cholesterol or carriers of cholesterol, actually. They say cholesterol-rich plaque. Absolute nonsense. No such thing exists, actually. Plaques are almost completely construed of scar tissue and clotting factors. Not cholesterol, not LDL. It's hardly there at all, actually, if you look at the stuff by its volume and weight.
Hello, Professor.
Hello.
I request that you analyze... Okay.
Yeah. The echo's good in here, isn't it?
Do you think you can train your eyes to not be dependent on corrective and lenses?
I think it is possible. I've heard tales of folks that say they've been able to do so to some degree or another.
Are carbohydrates the grim?
Like anything, it's the dose that makes the poison. A very, very small amount of carbohydrates, probably unlikely to cause a problem, but there is a threshold, and it's individual, and it's not very high, but it's non-zero. Yes.
Hi from Kentucky.
Hello.
How best to transitioning to carnivore diet from a high-protein whole food diet that previously included carbs, vegetable, and grain?
Well, you'd do it slowly over 6 weeks or so. You would slowly ramp out all the non-Christian stuff, meaning the plant materials. And you would replace that with fat. So you're transitioning yourself from carb across to fat, basically, and keeping your protein about where it is, so long as your protein intake is appropriate. High protein might not be appropriate, depending on what you mean by high protein.
What do I, on the left of the screen, look to do in the future? I bet he works hard. I've still no idea.
He's a young man. The world is the bivalve mollusk of his choice. He's also a young man with more than 3 brain cells, so that's handy. You'll find your way at some point. Everybody does, or they don't, you know.
Question.
Yes.
Is honey a legitimate addition to the carnivore diet?
No, it isn't.
So
No.
as long as
No. It's sugar. It is carnivore, absolutely, strictly speaking, but there's no place for sugar in the diet. You do not need to be consuming any sugar. And I'm not saying I don't. I'm a human being too. I do, from time to time, consume some sugar. I am not 100% carnivore, but the ideal diet is 100% carnivore, whether I'm doing that myself or not. That doesn't change the facts. I'm about 90%, sometimes 85%, I think. Yes.
Is there a benefit to fasting and meditating, or is it simply fasting enough?
You do you. I'm not an expert in that kind of cognitive stuff personally. I believe that there are people who say they get great benefits from meditation. Well, fine, you do you. The same with fasting. I mean, fasting is only useful if it's useful. Fasting isn't something that you do just because. It's a tool that fits a particular. You know, you do it for a reason. You wouldn't do it just because.
Is the dreadful nose banana a vegan myth, or can good stingrays acknowledge a silicone worm willy-nilly?
I have no idea what you're talking about, Christopher, but thanks for being here.
Maybe you can elaborate.
Or maybe you could share with us some of whatever you've been smoking, because it's better than the stuff I've got. Clearly.
What are your thoughts on seraptase for breaking down internal and external scar tissue?
Well, it can do, as can nattokinase a bit. But the best thing I've found for dealing with scar tissue is to encourage the release of your own adult stem cells using, Cerule Stem Enhanced Ultra. Or if you are in New Zealand or Australia, you're in the test market and you're allowed hardcore carnivore stem enhanced. Dum, dum, dum. However, if you're in the rest of the world, the standard stem enhance is your only option for now. So get into it. Either way, it's good stuff. It does exactly what it says it does. It encourages your bone marrow to release your adult stem cells to the blood, whereupon they do magics, including, if it is a priority and your body sees it as something that it needs to do, that it will break down scar tissue and replace it with new and native cell lines. Incredible, really, isn't it? The address to get Cerule is on the screen. When we get rid of the question there, it'll be on the screen. There it is, bkaynutrition.cerule.com. Good. Now we can have more questions.
What are your thoughts about consuming shit pills for healing guts?
What shit pill? Oh, you mean taking in someone else's feces, either in a pill form or directly sticking it up your anal orifice in order to correct a microbiome issue? It can work, but we don't really know enough about the microbiome to really know what we're doing there. It's a bit of a lottery. And frankly, I don't think I'd be too interested in inserting anybody else's feces into my body. That's just me, though.
Can type 1 diabetes be reversed?
Yes, it can. The medical profession will tell you that's impossible and it can't occur. Wrong. It can. I've seen it happen a couple of times. Coincident with people taking the right products and the right diet and doing one or two other things. Well, 5, actually. Yep.
Continued type 2, sir. Some days I eat nothing or bacon and eggs or ground beef or steak and still ramps up through the day.
So type 2 diabetic.
Yeah.
And your blood sugar ramps up through. Okay, it sounds like you need to come and have a consult with me. bit.ly/BART-KAY. That's where you can sort that out. Sounds like you and I need to have a chat and we can get to the bottom of it and see what's going on and try and sort it out.
Yep.
So, go on.
Less convincing performance. Vegan gains acting smart or Kamala Harris is acting relatable.
Oh, God, they're both dreadful. They're both absolutely offensive to their core. It's a difficult call. It really is. Comparing two highly offensive individuals.
I removed a socket and wired a copper wire from it to a flat electrical sheet. It then turned the entire house electricity off and I felt a minor shock on the sheet. Am I doing it wrong?
Yes. Absolutely. Dear oh dear. Don't be messing around with electricity if you don't know what you're doing, boys and girls. Buy yourself some earthing kit from a reputable company.
Or maybe just bury the socket in the ground outside.
Maybe.
Can't, by the way, I started Cerule this month.
Good.
Continued.
Yes, from above there, yeah.
Okay.
Started Cerule this month, okay. Cool.
Is there any ways to watch your takes on certain issues YouTube won't let you talk about in the 2020 time period?
You might take an odyssey of discovery of your own accords, and such an odyssey of discovery might lead you to find another platform that might be a repository for some of my videos made around that time. I would definitely take an odyssey, if I was you, of discovery.
A person question, but when and why did you begin to believe in the carnivore diet and become a YouTuber?
It made sense to me immediately when I first heard about it, and I was like, oh yeah, of course, because I'd been sort of low carb, sort of keto-ish for 27 years, but prior to that, I decided to become a YouTuber when I decided to no longer be involved in academia anymore and to be a retired academic, because I needed to do something. And I was going to be the best YouTuber in the world, and I was going to have the best YouTube channel, and I was going to make millions of being a YouTuber. Tee No. Anyhow.
Are microbiome transplants inserted rectally effective to alter the microbiome? Some YouTube offer this,
Service.
Yeah, offer this service with our home kit.
Nobody knows. That's the problem. This is Russian roulette. We do not know enough about the microbiome to know what is good and what what is likely to be helpful or effective, or what could possibly be much, much worse.
How can type 1 diabetes be reversed?
Well, one potential way is to encourage your bone marrow to release a vastly larger number of adult stem cells than it otherwise would, using a product, say, like Stem Enhance Ultra, which means Stem Enhance Ultra because there are no other products like it, by the way. That's not a therapeutic claim, by the way. It's just saying this product is what it says it is. It does what it says it does. That is to encourage the release of adult stem cells, which can differentiate into any kind of new cells at all that the body might decide it needs, depending on its own priorities. And if your body decides that some of those stem cells will be used to replace the insulin-producing cells that have been destroyed, they can do that. So that's how. That's one way how.
Sorry if you have answered this, but were you ever vegan before this current diet, or what were your previous dietary benefits?
No, I've never been vegan because I have more than 3 brain cells. Most of my adult life, I have been low carb, keto, or some degree of carnivore.
Will you make more content on Mike Israel?
Maybe. If the fancy grabs me, if I see one of his videos that annoys me enough that I go, oh, let's do a Who's Wrong on the Interwebs video. Yeah.
Oh. Would you go back to do flat plane debates like you did against PhD Tony, who propagated globalist nonsense?
Possibly. It wasn't actually a flat plane debate, though, because nobody in that discussion was of any other opinion than the Earth is an oblate spheroid. We agreed on that, absolutely. That debate was about whether or not the anthropogenic global warming science and theory was what they say it is, or whether it's something other than that. And I took the position of presenting somebody else's ideas, not my own, as here are the ideas that have been presented. And they all got their knickers in a twist about it. It was just funny as fuck. Yeah. And yes, PhD Tony is an absolute fucking imbecile. Yeah. You're an imbecile, Tony. You're an absolute child. And you proved it on the day, didn't you? Because your response to me presenting the ideas of the Connollys, as here are the ideas that they presented, was to attack me for having just presented the ideas, and to throw your toys out of the cot and to stomp up and down and basically claim consensus authority fallacy. Your response was no better than that of a petulant schoolchild. Pathetic, Tony. I believe I pointed that out to you at the time. And yet you still show your face on the interwebs as if you shouldn't feel too embarrassed to do so, because you really are a complete waste of skin. What's next?
Do you have a religion or favoured philosophy?
I am agnostic, purely because I don't have the evidence on which to make a claim one way or the other. So my agnosticism is about I'm open to having anything proven to me at any point. Thus far, I haven't had any proof on anything, including my own existence, because physics can't even do that, let alone tell me whether there's a God or there isn't, shall we say.
Did you see the carnivore that had
Yep.
a stroke and all these docs telling him to start eating vegan?
Yep. So, old guy carnivore, he's been a guest on this channel. I would consider him to be a friend of mine, and I was sorry to hear of the stroke. It does look and sound like you've actually come out of it pretty well. It doesn't seem like it was a serious stroke. People need to understand that when you have a stroke, it's not because of what you've been doing in the last few years. Strokes build up over decades and decades and decades of doing the wrong thing previously. So to blame the stroke on the carnivore diet is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. We do wish you the speediest of speedy and full recoveries, old guy carnivore. And, you know, I would suggest that you do not take the advice of an MD on diet, any MD, actually, on the basis that MDs are not trained in nutrition at all, not one jot. And certainly to push the vegan ideology on someone as being more likely to be health promoting is absolutely ridiculous, false, disinformation. There is no evidence to support such a ridiculous claim, extant anywhere. So there.
What is the difference between goblins and trolls?
Depends on whose mythology we're following.
Was it the Masteron, the Trebulone, or living in metropolitan circumstances that rotted Mike Israel's brain?
No ideas. Possibly the indoctrination program he went through as part of his PhD probably didn't help as well. Yeah, the boy's an imbecile. Can't even correctly state first principles. He's a believer in calories in, calories out. And he thinks that's underpinned by first principles, which means he does not understand first principles, the stuff you learn in the first half an hour of your first undergraduate degree. So, you know, anyone that wants to take Mike Israel seriously, well, that's your funeral. Boy's an idiot. An idiot on the juice, too, by the way. So,
My questions are being deleted.
not by me, they're not.
Yeah.
YouTube might be doing it, or there might be something going on. One of the mods might be doing it if you're saying naughty stuff. I don't know. Good work, mods, if you're doing good work, and YouTube, if you're doing what you're doing, well, get fucked then.
Your insults are golden.
Yes, they are, aren't they, cock blanket? Fuck muncher.
Can cereal stem cells remove acne scars?
Yes, it is a possibility. That's not a therapeutic claim, it's just a possibility, and it might happen.
What is your opinion on simulation theory?
It can't be proven or disproven, really. It's a metaphysical thing. Reality itself is metaphysical, meaning outward physics. Physics can only make predictions about what we will observe. It doesn't explain why. Neither does it prove we actually exist. In fact, physics, the pure applied physics, the mathematical description of our universe, demands absolutely that we do not exist. Physical matter, stuff, mass, is a perception. It's not a reality.
Thoughts on minimalist training for a period? I'm an advanced trainee.
Yeah. Yes. I believe the minimum effective dose on training is what people should aspire to.
Are cock wobblers born or made?
Cockwombles,
Well,
both. I've seen examples of both. Yes, that fly is annoying me.
There's two, I think.
2 flies.
Why does Elaine Norton seem obsessed and fixated on you?
Does he? I didn't notice. He keeps mentioning me in Twitter and stuff, does he? Maybe I've got under his skin by proving him absolutely incompetent, not in command of first principle. He's another calories in, calories out believer. He's another demented imbecile with a PhD that thinks because he's got a PhD that he knows everything, when it turns out that he doesn't know dick about fuck. In fact, lame Norton, he wouldn't recognise the difference between his anus and his elbow if I labelled both of those and taught him how to read. He's a fuck trumpet of the highest order.
Why do you think the exact reason you can't handle pasteurized cow's milk but you can handle raw goats? Have you also tried non-homogenized pasteurized cow's milk?
Well, we do have some raw cow's milk in the house now, and I am going to try it to see whether that's the issue, the pasteurization.
Did you try the A2 milk?
I had a small amount, I think, not enough to set me off one way or the other. I was just trying to, but I need to do a decent N=1 with a decent dose of it to see.
Why are you unkind to young vegans and raw meatheads? Were you always a cruel man?
Well, what you see here on the interwebs is a bit of an act. It's a bit of a hook for clicks and views. In my personal life off the camera, I'm actually perfectly pleasant and personable and a decent human being. Online here, this whole belligerent, abrasive, sweary, grumpy professor act is just that. It's an act. And it's not that I'm unkind to young vegans. I'm pointing out the absolute demonstrable ridiculousness of their whole argument, their whole position, and their whole demented belief that science backs their theology, because it fucking doesn't. Yeah, no, I'm not a cruel man at all. In fact, I'm very generous to a fault, actually.
To a what?
To a fault, meaning too generous to, you know. I mean, put it this way, I haven't killed you yet. Yeah?
Yeah.
That's how nice I am and how patient I am. There's been 1 or 2 moments, haven't there? When you thought, oh, is he going to kill me now? Anyway, right, what's next?
Is there a reason why some humans are lactose tolerant?
Yes, because those genes are selected for in those individuals because they come from ancestors who had domesticated such animals at a certain stage and were using cow's milk, for example, or other animals' milk. And so, yeah, it's just a positive and negative selection pressure thing.
Do you recommend quitting day job and becoming a YouTuber? Is it a lucrative profession?
Okay. What I can promise you is that it is unlikely in the extreme that you will make even a decent living as a YouTuber if you don't joint venture with some company or several companies that produce wares of some kind that you can market and get some kind of recognition from those companies for so doing. Everybody's channel is a little bit different. Everyone's exact rate of pay is a little bit different based on algorithm, basically. But I can tell you in the case of my channel, I get about $1,000 per million views out of YouTube. I couldn't live on that based on my viewership numbers. That's why, among other reasons, that's one of the reasons why I'm joint ventured with Cyril, for example. That, and because Cerule is a great product that does exactly what it says it does, and is absolutely a product that has completely changed my life and the lives of many of my loved ones around me. And thousands of my followers now, who also have seen the light on Cerule, because it's Magic's, not because I get paid for it, but the Cerule thing is the only reason I'm still here at all, boys and girls, because without that, I would have gone off and got another job by now, because I wouldn't have had another choice. No, you won't make it, probably, as a YouTuber. Yeah.
Did you watch Independence Day in 1996?
I did, yes.
Is that a movie?
Yeah, it is. Starring Will Smith.
Should we question all medical science?
You should question all science. That's precisely how you do science. Except me. Don't question me. I am the science. I'm safe and effective. Don't question me, because that's hate speech. And you're causing danger to others if you don't trust me. Take only my word about the science. Listen to everything I say and do as you're told. I'm joking, just a bit.
Why are there so many incompetent people with PhDs?
Because they have boiled down, watered down the required standards for PhD over the years. It's an every child wins a prize ticket now. Pretty much, you have to try really, really hard not to get a PhD once you've been accepted into a PhD program. And PhD training programs are often just another form of indoctrination for mindless buffoons who think that the PhD confers some kind of veracity on what they've got to say. Well, no, you're just repeating what you were taught, most of them. Most people with PhDs have very little to no ability to actually critically think for themselves. And so they will just mindlessly regurgitate false information, believing it to be true.
Following a period of ill health,
Yep.
I've lost weight and
Yep.
can't recover that weight on carnivore. Should I eat carbs for a period?
No, you should not. Absolutely not. No. Simple one. Who is my co-host? This is Private Ryan of the Meat Militia, who today for some reason is Field Marshal Private Ryan. Field Marshal Dr. Professor Private Ryan. You can tell because, well, you could see that if the thing went there, you go. Maybe. Field Marshal Ryan. Saving Field Marshal Ryan wouldn't have been quite the same grab, would it, as saving Private Ryan? Saving the Ryan's privates. We've got two privates Ryan here right now. One of them, of course, is a bit too soft to come on camera, though. Aren't you? Just kidding.
Can previous joint damage be improved with carnivore?
Yes. Good.
Do you use your X3 with 2 sets of 8 to 12 reps?
Right.
Or do you use as 1 set to failure as the company recommends? Or do both ways work for hypertrophy?
When I use the X3 bar, I will use it 1 set to failure. However, I haven't picked the thing up for months or even looked at it. I don't even know where it is right now. It's somewhere in the house. I've been too busy both doing farm work and supervising woofers like Private Ryan and Private Ryan. Ryan's privates, that is.
Do you prefer Nordic women to Australian and New Zealandish?
I actually have a proclivity, well, several proclivities in terms of, if you're just talking purely about physical attraction rather than personality or any of that. I am very, very amenable to Asian. I'm also very, very amenable to black. And also redheads, among other things. But case by case, I mean, all sorts of people from all sorts of backgrounds can be physically attractive, can't they? It just so happens that Pim is Nordic. Well, I say that, but she's also half South American as well. So she's not the classic Nordic like blonde hair and slim and tall and all of that. What's on my head? A scab. A dirty big scab. See? It's called Plimbatian scab disease.
Morning, or
Good morning, Dave.
Yeah. Anyone who knows Bart knows he is not cruel.
Yeah.
He's a good man fighting for the health of others.
Correct. Appreciate it, DC. No, Private Ryan.
Yeah.
Ryan's his surname.
Am I going to miss Bart when I go home?
You better.
Yeah, I guess.
You better.
I'll probably send you emails and stuff.
Oh, that's so sweet. I might even read them if I get time.
Are you a Beatles fan?
No. A bit before my time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did listen to a cover yesterday.
Yeah.
Or original song.
We did.
Thoughts on easy strength?
Yeah.
Push, pull, hinge squats, and carry every other day.
I don't really know what your question is, Alan. Sorry. Can you be a bit more specific about what you're actually asking?
What do you make of Lame Norton saying people with PhDs shouldn't speak about nutrition or science?
Well, what sort of PhD? I mean, Lame Norton has a PhD in nutrition science, and yet he doesn't have command of first principles. He thinks calories in, calories out is valid. He thinks it's underpinned by the first law of thermodynamics, which he can't even correctly state, as I've shown previously in my videos here on my Fine Fine channel. The boy is a buffoon with a PhD. So there's your answer. People that don't know what the fuck they're talking about shouldn't speak publicly about any given topic. Not necessarily people with a given piece of paper or without one. I mean, advanced research degrees are great. Sure, I've got 3 of them myself. And 3 different topics. But that's not the thing that gives me credibility. The thing that gives me credibility is the fact that I actually know what I'm talking about and can litigate out the cons and whys and wherefores of whatever it is I'm saying and prevail in an argument against anybody, with or without a PhD. Even people that can bench press 410 pounds. So, yeah. Good.
Have you tried eating a pasta-based dish ever since eating carnivore and found it despicable? I had my first cheat meal in about half a year and I realized I was only eating for cheese and bacon.
Right. No, I don't find that. I really enjoy carbs when I do take them in.
Maybe you're not strict enough?
Possibly. Or maybe I just lack a discipline. Yeah.
I'm working on my discipline.
Yes, I'm working on my discipline.
Were you ever... for this question, I think I find the same as Joseph.
I've noticed you don't mind a bit of sugar.
No, I mean, yeah, okay, whatever.
But, yeah. Okay.
Were you ever obese or even overweight, good friend?
No, not really. I did have a dad bod at various times, which is more bloat than fat carriage. I have had some abdominal fat at times, but I've never been what I would call overweight or obese, and certainly not by any BMI calculation. I've always been 25, 26, 27 when I wasn't muscled. When I was a much younger man and I was quite heavily muscled, my BMI was over that value, but that was because of the muscle. Yes.
Which scientist, dead or alive, do you personally find to be the most inspirational, if any?
Ansel
Keys.
No, not Ansel Keys. Not at all Ansel Keys, no. You can't go past Newton. You can't go past Einstein.
How about that Brian who did the fat... I forgot his last name. Who Ansel Keys stole his...
I know.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not sure who you're talking about there.
Are you aware that you provide a valuable free education to laypersons that help them challenge industry? Sponsored bad advice from dietitians legend. Thank you.
Yes, I was aware of that. Yeah, that's why I do it. Thank you. Appreciate the shout out, the confidence that you place in me, despite the comedy persona. Oh, by the way, the 26th of April, Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. The Carnivore Collective Live is happening that day.
6 days after my birthday.
Is it? There you go. So if you want to be anywhere near Melbourne, Australia on the 26th of April, that's where you should be, at the Carnivore Collective Live. There'll be a number of high-profile speakers and others speaking on the day, including yours truly. I'll be there. This guy will be there too. He was the most popular at the Adelaide event last year. He was the most popular there. And he got to have a cuddle with Anthony Chafee. Everyone was jealous.
Are you planning on having the dogs back on anytime soon?
Maybe Claire. Also, Claire had a nice cuddle with Ted in Adelaide too. Everyone was quite taken with Ted. He went down at lunchtime to mix and mingle with the crowd, and I think there was about 100 selfies that we took with people that wanted a picture with Ted. His ego was completely out of control the next day. I couldn't do a thing with him. He was terrible, was Ted. Goodness me. He really was. Yes, the dogs will be on when their mummy is on, because they move wherever she goes and they follow her around and whatever. Yeah.
Redheads are a weakness.
No, they're not. Rubbish. Redheads are awesome.
No, I think he means...
Oh, a weakness of theirs as well, yes. Redheads are awesome. I love redheads. And Asians and blacks. And I just love humanity, really, but they are my particular proclivities, I guess. All else being equal.
Why did you stop mentioning you had multi-million-dollar consultancies with All Blacks amongst others? It sounded quite impressive.
I don't believe I did stop mentioning it. It gets mentioned when it's relevant to anything. Yeah.
What did you think about the point of raw meat heals vegans more efficiently, faster, but they get radically ideological about it? Why they could just continue eating cooked and be fine?
I don't really know what your question is there.
What do you think?
Does raw meat heal effectively or more faster than cooked? No, it doesn't. There's no evidence to support that claim. That's a theology. And why do vegans not like meat? Well, because they're idiots. They're theologically based idiots that don't understand.
Did you ever consider interviewing Sir Virich?
Yes. We even spoke about it. We shared some emails backwards and forwards as to whether we were going to do a collaborative video some years ago. About 3 or 4 years ago, I think it was. Never happened for whatever reason. Turns out he's a fucking idiot anyway, so, you know, whatever.
What is your favorite meal?
Steak and eggs and eggs and steak. Well, I don't actually eat that many eggs. Steak.
And sugar sauce.
Yes. Shh.
Any speculations on why lamb mince gives me tremendous brain fog?
Right.
While I have no problem with any other forms of lamb.
No idea at all.
Lamb could be, mince could be more processed.
Possibly. You know, all sorts of things could be going on with the way the mince is minced and all of that.
But what are some topics you refuse to talk about on YouTube? Just outline the broad topics.
Well, it's not that I refuse, it's that there are several topics that I cannot discuss on YouTube, because if I do and give my opinion on those things on YouTube, that places my channel at risk of deletion, because YouTube are the arbiters of truth and facts and the narrative that they want espoused, and anyone that's naughty and doesn't espouse that narrative, well, they get at least shadow banned and handbrake to fuck, and if they go over a certain line, they get completely wiped off the face of the YouTubes. You cannot discuss anthropogenic global warming theory openly. You cannot disagree with anything the World Health Organization has to say publicly, which is ridiculous. You cannot make certain claims about a certain viral thing that was going on and the response to it that was undertaken. These are all topics that can get you in big, big trouble in YouTube's land. So,
Do you consider it an insult when people group you, Savage, and Frankie together? I see it sometimes on Twitter.
well, that's just ignorant people that have absolutely no fucking idea of the difference between two fucking idiots and a bloke who actually has some academic background, some qualifications for what they're worth, a lot of experience in doing actual research as a research scientist, and in gaining multi-million-dollar external consultancies. There you go, I mentioned it.
Why are some carnivores against salt? Pros and cons of salt.
Well, everybody needs a certain amount of salt. Whether that comes from your food or whether it's added additional to your food, it depends on your individual needs. Too much salt is a bad thing. Not enough salt is a bad thing. And yes, Nikola Tesla was also a very good scientist.
Elon Musk.
Is he a scientist? He's a businessman that pays scientists to make things happen that he wants them to make happen. I don't believe he's a scientist in his own right.
Elon the scammer. Familial hypercholesterolemia should not eat carnivore. I heard Robert Lustig say that.
Well, he's wrong. Completely wrong. False. There is no reason a person with so-called familial hypercholesterolemia should not eat a carnivore diet. Absolutely no reason at all. You are wrong, Robert Lustig, if that's what you did say.
Einstein, my gut tells me, is a fraud.
You're an idiot then.
What workout do you think likely gives the best results with the least stress, strain, effort while fat and on carnivore?
High intensity burst and repeat HIIT and or heavy resistance training is the go for me. Depending on what results you're looking for, of course.
Where should I start to educate myself on the scientific prose and statistics book, etc.?
Well, any book on statistics will run through the actual mathematics for you, which you can either do or not do. It's difficult to teach a person how to put together a model, a construct of how statistics ought to be used and what's a good inference and what's a poor inference. The mathematics can't do that. All the mathematics can do is give you a result on a data set. How you then use those numbers to misguide and pull the wool over people's eyes is up to you. The best way to learn about statistics, inference, and what a good approach is, in my mind, is to listen to my videos about same, which you'll find on my channel if you binge watch them all.
What do MCTs found in lifesavers do to my metabolism? I eat copious amounts of cream and cheese otherwise.
What the hell is a lifesaver? In New Zealand, a lifesaver is a small round lolly or sweet.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, probably the same in Australia then. Medium chain triglycerides, what will they do to your metabolism? Well, not necessarily anything. They're just medium chain triglycerides that the most likely outcome for them is that they'll be oxidized by the mitochondria for metabolic energy storage.
Opinion on L-citrulline supplement.
Unnecessary for most people under most circumstances.
Can I eat blueberries on the carnivore diet?
You can do what you like, Pim. You're the queen of Pimbatia.
Oh, she's here.
She's also the queen of pirates.
Yeah.
The first of her name, mother of puppies, the unpoked. And she don't take shit from nobody, including yours truly. You can do what you want. Yes, you can eat blueberries. But can you bench press 415 pounds? Don't know.
What do MCTs found in
Gee,
life?
that sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Mm.
How many eggs do you eat every day?
On average, 0.
Mm-hmm.
0 point something. I eat very few eggs.
Yeah.
I don't do well on eggs, more than a couple at a time, and they have to be cooked. I can't eat raw eggs because I react to them. Or chicken's eggs, anyway. Yep.
Is the consumption of fecal matter a way to fix microbiome?
No, it's not.
Why do dogs do it? Should humans do it?
Well, dogs do it mostly for the vitamin B12, I would suggest. And because there's some nutrient in it, and dogs don't give a shit.
Literally.
Literally. Yeah.
Mm.
You're here to help, are you, Pim?
What is your favorite carnivore influencer?
Me. I have to back myself, of course.
Pima again. How many grams of salt is it okay for me to eat per gram of protein, or does it matter if I'm eating once or twice per day?
Again, you do you, and I know you're going to anyway, because that's who you are and that's how you roll. I always salt to taste, as you know. I don't measure, as you know. And I don't set limits on others for that sort of thing, as you know. People have good instincts once they've been relatively carnivore for long enough that you just go, I fancy some salt, we'll have some. In terms of the once or twice a day eating thing, for preference, for the average person, all else being equal, I suggest once a day is better than twice. However, that's a comment based right at the middle of the bell-shaped curve. There are reasons for various people with various issues that they might get some benefit from eating more than once a day. Maybe. Mm-hmm.
Who do you want to interview that you haven't yet interviewed?
Who do I want to interview that I haven't yet? I would like to be interviewed more than do an interview. I wouldn't mind being on Rogan, for obvious reasons. I'm ready, Joe. Anytime you like. I'm here.
Joe? Ah, okay.
Rogan.
Is regular human contact pro-indicated, and is it recommended to do this with multiple humans?
Yes.
Hmm.
Depending on what kind of contact you're talking about.
The elbow to elbow one.
Is that regular contact? Right.
Oh. My diet is made up of 80% smoked salmon and smoked beef. Are there any health concerns associated with consuming smoked meats in such a high amount?
There is that potential, yes. I wouldn't be doing that if I was you.
Could it also be if the salmon was farmed?
And that would be worse too, yeah. Good call.
Have any of your Muscovy ducks started flying yet?
Yep. They do.
What is a potential cause of hyperglycemia?
Well,
Sugar?
not having enough sugar in your bloodstream can be caused by an overactive release of insulin, an under intake of energetic substrates in the form of carbon skeletons, i.e. food. Several medical conditions can lead to hypoglycemia, and there are several drugs and chemicals that you can take that will also cause hypoglycemia to occur. For example, DCA would be one, dichloroacetate. Exercise can do it too, although exercise tends to cause hyperglycemia, actually, for the most part.
I'm surprised you answered. What are some of the negative effects of autism on your life?
Sometimes in the past, before I really understood myself and what was going on, it led me to behave in a self-destructive manner in terms of both directly self-destructive behaviors, and also it has caused problems for me in getting on with others at various times. until I learned a bit more about it and how to manage myself, really.
Mm-hmm. Why people seem to need more electrolytes on a carnivore diet?
They don't need more necessarily.
Is Gen Z cooked?
Who knows?
Did you see Dr. Masola coming out and declaring you'll get a fatty liver doing carnivore? Did he get body snatched?
He's wrong. He's an idiot. He's another useful idiot. Yet another one who's easily swayed by disinformation with no real understanding of the actual science, clearly. Yes, Mikola got sucked into the Petism, the Ray Petism, which makes him an imbecile, because Ray Pete was an imbecile. Sorry, Peters. Well, I'm not sorry, actually. Fuck you. You're fucking idiots to believe that ridiculous fucking nonsense. It's anti-scientific claptrap. Mm-hmm.
Does the H2O consumption across consistent temporal intervals confer superior physiological benefits compared to a
Nope.
singular vote?
Nope.
I don't really...
Drink when you're thirsty. When you don't feel thirsty anymore, stop drinking.
What are your thoughts on elevated homocysteine levels? Is that a thing of concern, especially regarding cardiovascular health? What should one do to fix it?
Nope. I don't think it's necessarily a problem at all. I think I would take the whole picture of a person's affect, their symptomology, and any labs that I considered relevant to the discussion based on what their situation is before I would make any kind of change to anything. It may well not be broken and may well not need any fixing.
Sometimes I can't find wild-caught seafood such as salmon. Do you think that consuming farm-raised seafood from time to time can still be nutritious?
You do you. I wouldn't. Farm-raised salmon is filth.
But I think shellfish aren't too bad.
Depends from shellfish to shellfish and where they've been raised, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you or does anyone in the chat have problems with needing alcohol to feed normal or confident?
Yeah, that is a problem. That is an issue. That is something that should be dealt with. Alcohol has been a problem in my life too from time to time. And feeling like you need it to feel normal or confident, no, that's no good. No good at all. Who's arriving? Look out the window. See who's arriving. Because I'm nosy. Looks like it's Natasha, is it?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Cool.
If humans are built for a meat-only diet, why do we produce amylase in our saliva?
Because there was no negative selection pressure to knock that gene out. It still proves useful from time to time in that it allows us to subsist in periods where the hunt might not be successful by intaking sugars, starches, etc.
There's sugar in meat too.
There is sugar in meat too, but yeah.
Are essential oils proven to help the nervous system?
Nope. Proof is the word that's being used inappropriately there. There is no proof of that anywhere.
Yeah, I've said some intelligent things tonight.
I didn't mean to. Sorry.
Oh. Can I give Cyril to my 83-year-old dad? Help heal his body?
Yes, you can. That is an option open to you. Yes.
Favorite movie?
The Princess Bride is high on my list. Anything sci-fi. I love sci-fi. I'm not really a movie buff, to be fair.
I've never been drunk in my life.
Very good. Well done, Rick.
Do you think it's best to avoid certain human connections?
Yes, if someone is toxic to you, or you have a toxic interaction between the two of you or the group or whatever it is, then yeah, get your ass out of there. Get them gone. And that includes family members that are toxic. Get them out of your life.
You mentioned a couple of weeks ago, all views of health are just that, views. Wondered if I could please ask how your views developed over time. What were the progressive big ahas? Thanks.
A dispassionate, disciplined application of the scientific methodology to a critical appraisal of what I was being told. Okay, you're telling me X, Y, or Z about health. Let me find the evidence for that. Let me go and do a search. Oh, it's non-existent. Oh, super chat. Thank you, Bob.
You guys are getting great information for free. Come on, support Bart people.
Yes, support Bart people. We are Bart people. Me, the Ryans, Pim when she shows up to help. Good.
You mentioned
Geez, the echo's good in here, isn't it?
yeah.
What's next?
Now I drink water, sparkling water, and 1 cup of coffee in the AM.
Good. That's not a question. Still, it's not claimed to be a question either. Whatever.
Yeah.
Are we running out of questions, folks? Is that what's happening?
Is Mike O'Hearn natty? Baby, don't hurt me.
I don't know. Probably not. Most of these people are not.
No.
Looks like we are out of questions, which is okay because we've been going for 1 hour 36 and 57 seconds. Tell you what, if you have any questions remaining, you need to append a super chat to those to make sure they come to the top of our feed and we see them, and we'll answer those. But in the meantime, we'll be done otherwise. Right.
Type 2 diabetes, which of cereal products would work best for me?
Okay, I suggest a package of 3 products on a monthly basis, those being Stem Enhance Ultra, or if you're in Australia and New Zealand, we are the test market for hardcore carnivore formulation. Get into it, support it, otherwise the rest of the world won't get it. The second product I suggest you take is an anti-inflammatory called Cyactive, and Plasma Flow is an enzyme preparation designed to dissolve fibrin deposits from your microvasculature, thus allowing nutrient, stem cells and things to get to where they need to be. I would take those 3 products.
How's your new castle holding up? When can we come over?
It's holding up pretty well, and we have availability for people to come and stay with us anytime. You'll need to be aware that we are just going into the autumn/fall, and winter will be upon us soon. So there'll be shorter days, colder weather, rainier stuff going on. It'll be less farm intensive, but there will be things to do still. But yes, we can accommodate folks anytime. This lot are out of here on Tuesday. Kicking them out. Had enough. Go home. Fuck off. Thank you. Come again.
Is eating salt enough for electrolytes?
Depends on what your needs are for electrolytes and how much salt you're eating.
Can I live in your house but not work at the farm? I want to start a YouTube channel.
We'd need to get some benefit out of having you here in some way. If you were a saucy young trollop of my kind of proclivities, that would be welcome.
A what?
A saucy young trollop. You'll have to look that up later, won't you?
Yeah.
Trollop.
I know you say no liver needed, but Dr. Ken Berry says eat liver twice a week. Is he wrong?
Well, yes, because there's no requirement for liver. You can eat a little bit of liver if you want to, but I wouldn't overdo it because it does genuinely have the potential for toxicity.
Mm.
and not vitamin A toxicity. That's not what I'm talking about. Yes, I would disagree with Ken on that if he says that you should do that.
I have no money for super chats until my dentist appointment.
Fair enough.
I've not seen anyone answer so many questions like Bart does. Show support.
Yes, please do. Here's a question from Kinetic Haven.
Ah, yeah. I watch many of your videos. How are you not getting tired of always pointing out the misuse of calories in nutrition?
Well, I am a bit over it, to be fair, but it's God's work, and I have to keep doing it. Lamau. Thank you. You're here to help, aren't you, Lamau? Trollop. Yes, Trollop.
Which practice informed your views the most?
Yep.
Exercise physiology, human nutrition, or cardiovascular pathology? You get to ask, not and allowed to say all three.
My formative years in academia were my first years. So that would have my first specialization, that being exercise physiology, as the formative thing that I cut my teeth on. However, I learned how to think for myself. They tried to teach me nonsense in exercise physiology. And most exercise physiologists will come online and speak absolute fucking nonsense about exercise physiology. I am wired a bit differently to most. Yes. Salad boy, what is he saying?
Paul Saladino has shown his perfect health in Costa Rica.
So what?
Not a question.
Not a question.
What happens when RFK recommends the carnivore diet for Maha?
I don't know.
What are your favorite positions?
Well, I'm into all sorts of things. Any hole's the goal. They're all pink inside. Even the black ones after the first quarter of an inch. Yes, let's have some casual racism on the program.
Do you agree with those anti-liver guys like Garrett Smith?
Well, I had Garrett Smith on, and we did an interview a couple of years back because I was interested to give him an opportunity to put together an argument as to why he thinks vitamin A is a problem. And I gave him that opportunity in full for 2 hours, and he failed completely, I think. I'm not saying he's wrong, but I'm saying I gave him an opportunity to prove he was right, and he didn't do it. Got nowhere near it. More to the point, Bill, what are your favourite positions?
Can I live on your house? I will eat meat and clean my room. In return, I ask for housing as I start up my YouTube.
Again, I would need to get some benefit out of that too, wouldn't I? What would you do for me that would be useful, or for us here that would be useful to us if you don't want to work on the farm? Why would we have you here if we're getting nothing out of it? Just for the love of it? Don't know.
Is there advantage to eating the animal immediately after slaughter, or does it make no difference to freeze it and eat it later?
I don't think it makes a huge difference.
What is a good ratio between standing and sitting as in front of the PC 8-hour office life worker? My office mates tell me varicose veins results when standing too much.
Well, that's nonsense. Varicose veins are not the result of standing. If you're in front of a PC for 8 hours, you should probably have a stand up, walk around, do something different for 15 minutes every 2 hours at least. Go and change your focus, look at something else, do something different, think about something else, and then get back to work after that. Yes.
Will Cyril help stage 5 kidney damage with amyloidosis, 55-year-old male on dialysis 1 month?
We are not allowed to make therapeutic claims of any kind. We are not allowed to say this product will help you with your X, Y, or Z. What we can say is that this product does exactly what it says it does. It is exactly what it says it is, and that is it causes your bone marrow to release your adult stem cells. Your adult stem cells, should they see the replacement of damaged kidney tissues with new ones as a priority, that is what they will do. That is not a therapeutic claim. That is just the facts.
Who will you destroy next?
Oh, I've got no idea. I haven't even looked into it. I haven't made any Who's Wrong on the Interwebs videos for several weeks because I've been taking a break from it and being quite busy on the farm and etc. Somebody will pop their head up above the parapet and say something stupid soon, and I'll go, right, that's the one. I don't know who it is yet. Could be anybody.
There might be carnivore principles, ideas, but these industries have too much power over everything. Orbit, tallow, less seed oils and waste products will still help a lot of people. Orbital.
I've got no idea why you're saying orbital.
Orbital.
The hell are you talking about?
Do you keep track of your IGF-1?
No, I don't.
And is it okay thing to do, figure out how much protein I actually need?
No, it won't tell you. There will be no useful information in that whatsoever. The right amount of protein is somewhere around about 2 grams per lean kilo of body mass per day.
Pim says,
Yes.
I need to go see the cows.
Yes.
Natasha would like your help. She has our drill already.
Right.
Can brushing teeth and gums prevent gum recession or make it worse?
Yes. It can help or make it worse, depending what you're doing, how you're doing it, etc.
I believe most people brush too hard.
Right.
Why is New Zealand so cold? Is the temperature the reason why many people claim that the grimness of the islands due to the English nastiness?
I've got no idea how a reference to Englishness has anything to do with it, because New Zealand is about as far away from England as it's possible to get, being completely on the other side of the world. It's not cold in New Zealand. Why do you think it's cold here? This is a subtropical temperate zone.
Should I brush my teeth more than once a week?
Depends.
When was the last time I brushed?
I don't know. I'm not keeping track of that. You're an adult.
Yeah.
Now, Daniel, have you brushed your teeth?
Just 2 weeks ago.
Did you?
Yeah.
Right.
What's the business plan of the farm? Sell meat, cows, eggs?
The plan is firstly and foremostly for us to be self-sustaining in terms of our own food provision, our own provision of electricity. We're going to generate that ourselves here, and our own water, which is already in hand. We have that. Financially, the plan at some point is that the farm is at least cost neutral in terms of the cost of running it plus the cost of the mortgage to pay for the bastard. And yes, we would do that by selling animals. We can't actually sell meat because that's not legal here. But we can sell live animals and eggs, and we can grow things, plant materials that other people like to eat, and sell those to those people. Fine. Yes.
What are your top 5 nutrition YouTube quacks?
Top 5 nutrition quacks. Anyone whatsoever who claims that a plant-based diet or a vegan diet is even remotely acceptable for a human, let alone the ideal. And anyone who says that you must eat piles and piles of carbohydrates on top of your carnivore diet. Pork salad, I don't know, for example. Anyone who believes Ray Peat was anything but a fucking imbecile, that'd be on my quacks list. Yeah.
Why did you leave academia?
Because it had become a woke, left-leaning cesspit, devoid and destitute of the standards that were in place when I first got into academia, such that every child wins a prize and it was all about student experience and less about actually asking students to meet a certain standard to pass out. my inability to be directed to tell lies to students who are paying good money to hear actual valid information from an academic. My refusal to be bullied into following a curriculum document which is demonstrably false. And a few other things.
After going carnivore, all plaque disappear.
Yep.
Brushed only twice a week now.
Yep. Quite common in the carnivore community.
Was responding to Orbital Hub talking about RFK.
I see. That's why you're talking about orbital.
Have you thought of debunking some of the stupid advice given by some clickbait carnivores?
Have you been watching my stuff, Dave? Yes, I have thought of doing that, and I've done it many times. What exactly do you mean?
New Zealand made their mountain a person. What's her name?
What? Fuck are you talking about, Scott? Love you. Nothing you can do about it, but what the hell is that? Do you people speak English? Any of you? I'm kidding. Love you all.
Wait, what new skills or experiences have you acquired for your new homestead?
Well, I've learned, it's a steep learning curve. I've been learning, as I've gone along, having never done farming before now. All sorts. Mostly around problems with fencing, a bit about animal care and stuff that I didn't know before.
I could offer you 5% of revenue of my YouTube channel in exchange for housing and meat.
Nah. I know how much YouTubers make. No.
Does Haka dance have any health benefits for participants?
Probably.
Respect to your unique country.
Yes.
Ted is greatly respected in this part of the world.
Excellent. Good.
Do you think Steve Jobs' fruitarian diet contributed to his death?
Probably, yeah.
Is showering bad for the skin health? Should it be avoided?
No, not necessarily.
I'm having a hard time transitioning my pet rabbit to a carnivore diet. Could you please help me?
Yes, stop doing that immediately. Rabbits are not carnivores.
Do you also think Max German should restrict saying animal source poofers like chicken and pork are inflammatory in almost every video he uploads?
No, I think Max should do what Max does. I think, Max should be Max. Max is probably going to come and stay here at some point.
Does it bug you that other influencers say exactly what you say? I guess imitation is flattery.
Yeah, the second thing. I'm flattered. And I'm glad that my message is getting out there and taking hold and changing the world. And I don't need to be credited for having said the truth. It's just the truth.
Have you ever tried or heard about miswax sticks for cleaning teeth?
Nope.
Miswax sticks. Claymation e-carnivore celebrity deathmatch. You versus Saladino. Who wins and what is your finishing move?
The elbow of truth from the top rope. And that has me winning because Paul wouldn't know the truth if it bit him on the arse. So Scott's saying that Mount Taranaki has person rights. According to whom? Who the hell has given a mountain rights as a person? And what rights would they be? Goodness gracious. What's wrong with this country?
RFK makes me nervous. How do you feel about banning ingredients?
Depends what ingredients we're talking about. I agree with some of what he has to say on some topics, not other things.
How long into carnivore did it take for you to realize this is what humans have always meant to eat?
Not long. It made sense when I first heard about it. It was like, oh, why didn't I think of that already? And then I went to check out the underpinning, I guess, ideas as to why the carnivore diet is likely to be the best for a human, and they all made sense too. Oh, okay. Good.
Rabbits are herbivores. No wonder you are having a hard time.
Indeed.
Do you like to still kayak in the ocean and rivers?
Yes. We don't get much of an opportunity these days, but yeah, it's great. We went last week.
Yep. The idiots in our government gave it rights to appease the early arrivals.
I've got no idea what that's about. Nunes, when are we going to see you, man? We need to see you. Because Trevor the tractor won't work. I can't do tractoring. It's probably just a flat battery or something. I don't know. I can't start the bastard. Oh, and we need to replace that valve stem in the front left tyre because it's flat again. And I just haven't had time.
What points do you agree and disagree with Mike Mensa on? Any possibilities of doing a video on them?
Yeah, I could have a look. Yeah, I do agree with Mike on some things and not on other things. Yeah.
Do you think there is truth in the conspiracy theory that all carnivore influencers have carby names like Baker, Berry, etc.?
No. It's how it is. I don't have a carby name.
Did Rena give you a chubby?
No. Rena's a married woman. Doesn't mean it wouldn't be of interest to me, but, you know, I have respect for those kind of things, so I don't even think about it. Yes, Rena's very attractive looking. She's got a hot sister too, who apparently is available. Yeah. Yeah, no, we love Rena. She's great.
How did you meet Pim? Was it online?
No, it wasn't. I walked into a lecture theatre one day as an academic to give a lecture to a group of students who were waiting to hear it. And I said this and that and the other thing for 2 hours. And then Pim came trotting down from the seats, introduced herself and a friend of hers. And, you know, it all kicked off from there. Yeah. Pim was in a class of students that I taught twice. It wasn't my group of students. She wasn't one of my students specifically at that stage. But we struck up a relationship from there. And it turns out that I supervised her, well, co-supervised her master's dissertation research project with another academic. And then thereafter, once she was finished being a student, was when we actually got emotionally involved after that. Not during.
Bouncing on trampoline helps glymphatic flow. Is it true?
I think that means lymphatic flow. Glymphatic? Yes. Yes, it does. What is Nuna saying?
That was the mountain.
Yeah.
How good or bad is the political atmosphere in New Zealand right now? You'd never hear much from New Zealand in international news?
It's better than it was, but we still have, well, in New Zealand, like most places, we have a just left of centre and a just right of centre party. And the swing is backwards and forwards between those parties from election to election, but it doesn't make any fucking difference. They are two wings of the same bird. And our current Prime Minister is an absolute waste of skin. Completely incompetent. No business in the job at all.
It's a problem if you get chubby from the chafee or baker?
No, if that's your thing. have no problem with that. Any person who wants to find those people attractive and get a chubby, go for it. No skin off my dick.
Good old Pim. I can imagine that.
Imagine what?
I think the story
What story?
that you...
Oh, right. Yes. The story about how I met Pim. Right. Yes. Pim was thinking, hello, sir. No, actually, Pim turned to said friend when I started talking and said, I'm going to marry this guy. Even though I was already married at the time, by the way. That's for another day.
Thoughts on raw milk?
Yep.
I'm aware no carbs are needed.
Right.
I used to drink 1.5 liters of raw milk. Too much, but cut my carbs down to 25 grams a day. Carnivore. Thanks, Bart.
How is your affect? Weight stable? Is your energy good? Do you have any signs and symptoms of any problems? If not, there's nothing to fix.
I believe the calcium in milk displaces magnesium a bit.
Maybe. Case by case.
Why is it that salting my food to taste makes my vision worse? Lost vision after overdosing 4 years ago. Doc says brain is fine. Has to do with the nerves leading top pop.
Okay. There's nothing in the literature that would tell me that salting your food would have an effect on your vision. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying that doesn't go up my flagpole at all.
Just being nosy, which town cities were you at in the UK? Thanks.
Right. When I first arrived in the UK, we lived in a town, city, if you like, by the name of Preston, Lancashire. From there, we moved to Solihull, Birmingham. From there to a place quite near Retford, Nottinghamshire. Also spent some time in Leicester. Yeah. But got around, visited a lot of the UK. Had a good look.
We have left of centre and left of right government. A centre government would be good.
Not sure. I'm a libertarian myself, and I would prefer that our government was libertarian, but it's never going to happen.
If I lived closer, I could bring Bart some wild Muscovy ducks for his breeding program.
You could, Rick, but you're in America. Which is a long way from New Zealand.
Dental health. Have you had better teeth and gums on carnivore?
Yes, absolutely, without question, yes.
Did you ever stay in Manchester? That's where I'm from.
Yes, a number of times. And yeah, I know that's where you're from. Yeah.
Were you born and raised, both of you?
Born and raided.
Born and raided? Wait, what?
I don't know what you're talking about again, Scott. Yes, I was born, and yes, I was raised. What the hell are you talking about, son? Still love you, but what?
I cannot imagine Bart in Preston, some of the ugliest buildings anywhere on the planet.
Yes, I agree.
Thank you, Bart, for answering the questions tonight. Okay. When I'm
tonight for them.
Yeah. When I'm able to, I will super chat and libertarian for the win.
Yay.
While in Lancashire, did you notice many holes?
I'm not sure what that's a reference to either.
Useless ducks are too fat to fly. Raided right after birth.
I do not know what you're talking about, people. For God's sake, spell shit out.
Is there a preferred test for dairy and egg intolerance?
Yes, there are antibody tests that can establish issues there. Right, I'm bored. Enough. It's been over 2 hours. Let's sing the song and get the fuck out of here. Shall we?
One more question.
Go on then.
Are you and Pim going to visit the USA in the near future?
There are no plans to, no.
Okay.
Yeah. Let the singing commence. Indeed. Indeed. Let the singing commence. You all know the words. This is the traditional anthem of Pimbatia, and it goes a little bit something like this. Steak and eggs and steak. That's what you should have for your breakfast. Delicious. Eggs and steak and eggs. Just making sure you heard. I think they got it, Ted. I think they did. Join us next week, where there will be more singing, perhaps, if I can be asked. Hit the button, son.